I went AFK at this insane improved mob XP farm for half an hour and got this many drops, which is this much loot every single hour, not even talking about the XP the farm gives you. This farm is insane and you need to check it out. Here's how to build it for Minecraft Bedrock. Before we actually get started with building this farm, there are a couple different layer types that you can build with different spawning mechanisms, and I'm going to show you guys that right now. There are 3 different types of layers you can build when building this farm. 1, 2, or 3. 3 being the most efficient, 1 being the least efficient. Now I say least efficient, however, when I built this farm over there, you can't see it, but I built it right back there. I did 7 layers with this layer type and still got 8 stacks of gunpowder, a ton of bones, tons of arrows and string, everything with this. So it's still very efficient. It just means that this layer over here is a little more efficient. I'm going to get into what all 3 of these layers do and how they work. If you don't want to listen to this part, if you don't care, go ahead and skip to the time on screen right now. The first layer, super simple. It's literally just a layer, the mobs spawn and get pushed towards the middle. Nothing special. The second layer is where we get into the fun part. So how this farm works is we actually have scaffolding right here with flowing water over top. Now zombies, skeleton, and creepers, they're all going to spawn, get pushed by the water, and fall down here. But the problem is with spiders is, I don't think I have any spider spawn eggs on me, but if I spawn a spider underneath of here, you can see they sit down here. Now eventually they are going to jump up to here and be pushed in, but sometimes these spiders can slow down the rate to the farm. So what we have is soul sand here. The reason we have soul sand is because now we have a bubble elevator. So when the spiders are walking, they're going to be walking underneath of here, and instead of waiting for them to jump up here, this soul sand is going to push them up. So all of this stuff that we have down here is just to make sure that the spiders don't clog up the rates. The third one over here is the exact same thing, just even better. Ice, mobs can spawn on it, but they cannot path find on ice, meaning they spawn on ice, but they want to find a solid block. So they spawn on ice, they walk towards this block, they don't like the ice, so they walk towards this block, and then eventually they are going to walk either towards the middle or again get pushed up by this soul sand. So all of this spawn stuff that we have here is just for the spiders. All the other mobs are going to be fine. It just means that if you build this one over here, some of the spiders might sit around for about a minute before they actually end up getting pushed down, compared to this one when they only sit here for maybe 10 or 15 seconds. So again, this is the most efficient, but for this tutorial, I'm going to do this version back here because it's the easiest and still gives some really good rates. Now that you've picked your layer type, we can go ahead and get started on the actual farm. The first thing you want to do is go up about 20 blocks into the air. This number doesn't really matter. You can go however high you want. I think that looks about good. And I'm going to take some ladders and bring them all the way up so we can get up and down from the farm. But if you have an elytra, that'll work too. If you want to do a staircase, bubble elevator, anything like that, that's okay as well. Now coming back up to the top of your pillar, we can get started on the first layer. The first thing you want to do is go 8 blocks out in one direction, turn around, and then go 8 blocks out in the other direction as well. Once you have that, you want to go 16 blocks in the direction away from the ladder. 14, 15, 16, there you go. And now what you want to do is connect the 2 edges and then fill it in to make a big 17 by 17 square. If I didn't mention, this doesn't have to be made out of smooth stone, it can be made out of any solid block. Now that you've got this platform, come in front of the ladder and count in 8 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Break the 8th block and then 2 blocks like that. And then you want to break the blocks to the sides as well, so you should have a 3x3 hole in the center of your platform. So now's when you want to decide which type of layer you're going to do. Earlier in the video, I mentioned the 3 types. Here are the schematics on screen. You want to take whichever one you're doing and fill that in for this area. Like I mentioned, I'm doing the first option because it's plenty efficient for me, but you can do whichever one you want. Now that you've got your first layer completed, what you want to do is go up 3 blocks, break the bottom 2, and then copy this platform that we've done down here at this level, making sure that there's a 2-block height. Now you want to build as many layers as you want. I recommend doing about 7 to 8 levels because that's going to give you about 8 stacks of gunpowder, a ton of bones, a ton of arrows, everything like that. But you can do up to about 11 or 12 before the farm starts to hit the mob cap. So do however many you want. You could do 1 or 2 even if you don't have that many resources. As you can see behind me, I have built 8 layers for the farm. That is the amount that I've decided to go with. But again, you can do as little or as many layers as you want. Now come up to your first layer, place 3 blocks here, and then take 9 fence gates and place them in the middle. This can also be signs, it doesn't really matter. And then you want to go ahead and open all of them up and you can break those 3 blocks. There you go. And then with this middle one, you can actually go ahead and break it because we don't need it. And now you should have 8 of these fence gates in the middle, and you want to repeat that step for every single layer. Really quick disclaimer for the next part of the video, I actually had these built on the wrong level. You want to build them up right where I just said to build them. Just know that for these next couple steps, I am going to have these built on the wrong level. We now need to make a wall around our farm. So there's two different ways you can do it. I like to use glass around the farm because I like to see what's happening inside of the farm. But the thing is, if you use glass, light can still get in. And so if you want the farm to work during daytime, I'm going to have to make a roof over top of it. But if you don't want to do this and you want to save the blocks, just go ahead and make this out of solid blocks, and then you're not going to have to make that roof. But for me, like I mentioned, I'm going to use glass, and then I'll just show you guys how to make a roof at the end. So like I mentioned, if you're making the wall, just make it 2 blocks high, covering the open spaces. You don't have to do these blocks, although I am going to do it because I think it looks nicer. So there you go. We now have a wall surrounding our platform. The reason no mobs are spawning for me is because I'm on peaceful, but if you made this out of solid blocks, you might start to see that mobs are spawning. Now, whether you use glass or a solid block, for this top layer, to make sure it works, you want to make a roof over top of it. Next, you want to come inside of your farm, and you're going to want to place 1 piece of scaffolding on every single one of the blocks for every single layer. Now, I know this seems like a lot of materials, but trust me, it is absolutely worth it because this farm is incredible. Really quickly though, if you're enjoying, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, if you want to make sure the farm works before you actually build it, or if something's not lining up, anything like that, you could download this exact world that I'm playing on. It's the first link in the description. With that, let's get back into the video. Once you've got the scaffolding placed on every single one of your layers, go inside of the farm. I'm going to temporarily break those blocks and then replace them. And it might be helpful to make yourself an infinite water source, because what we now need to do is take 1 bucket of water and place it on every single one of the walls. Now I know this seems like a lot of work, but trust me, this is the last step for the layers, so make sure to stay in there. Alright, and once you've got all of your water placed, what you're going to see is when a mob spawns, it is able to be pushed by the water and it falls down your hole all the way down there. Now, one more thing that I should add, if you did one of the other methods with the soul sand or the ice, what you're going to want to do, I'm just going to place a piece of soul sand there and place my scaffolding back. You're going to want to make sure that you have a bucket of water placed inside of there to actually create this bubble elevator effect. You can see I have the bubbles. This is what's actually going to end up pushing the spiders up. So make sure on top of every single piece of soul sand, you have a bucket of water, and then go ahead and replace the scaffolding. If I come a little ways away from the farm, you can see mobs spawning on every single one of the levels, and then they fall down our killing chamber. Now it's time to actually get started with the trident killer so we can automatically kill all of these mobs that are spawning. To get started with the trident killer of the farm, you want to go underneath of the farm and then go into the middle of your 3x3 square. Now build down 4 blocks, and then you can go ahead and break those there, and then make a 3x3 square down here. There we go. And now you want to make walls connecting from here all the way down to here. Again, I'm going to use glass, but you can use any block that you want. It does not matter. I just like to see what's going on, and I like to watch the mobs die. Now that you've got this area built, you want to come underneath of this, go to one of the 4 corners, build down 2 blocks, and then on that 3rd block, you want to place a chest, and then 1 chest going away from your 3x3 platform, and then place 2 more double chests like that. And then underneath of your 3x3 platform, you want to place 3 more double chests just like that. Now that you've got your chests built, coming over here, you want to place 3 hoppers there, and then skipping these chests, you want to place 3 hoppers there as well. Now take rails and place them like that, with hopper minecarts on top of the rails. Now go ahead and break all of the rails. You'll know you're looking at the rail when it highlights. Try not to break the hopper or the hopper minecart. It can be kind of hard to do it. There you go. And then you want to take all of these hopper minecarts and kind of push them so they're in between the 3 hoppers just like that. And then of course do that for these 2 as well. We're just doing this to make sure that all of the items, when they drop inside of here, are picked up by this, evenly distributed between the hoppers and put inside of the chests. So there you go. I think that looks good. You now want to temporarily break all of these blocks, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the trident killer. For this next part, it will be helpful to make a temporary ring of blocks around our 3x3 platform. And now come back to the front, and we're going to get started. So start off by placing 2 regular pistons there. Turn and place 2 pistons, turn and place 2 pistons, and turn and place 2 pistons, just like that. Oh, don't fall. You now want to take an observer and place it like that so the arrow is facing into the pistons, and then do that for all 4 of these spots. Just like that, there you go. And then take another observer and place it facing so the arrow is away from these pistons, and then do that for all 4 of these spots as well. Now take your solid block and place 4 blocks there, 4 blocks there, 4 blocks on that side, and 4 blocks here as well. You now want to take 2 pieces of redstone and place it behind the piston, take your comparator and place it so the 2 prongs are facing away from the redstone, and then take one more piece of redstone dust and place it behind just like that. And then of course do that for all 4 of the sides as well. That's 2 sides, the 3rd side, and then the 4th side. And once you finish placing that, you want to take one more block, place it down with the lever right there, and then once you flick this lever, flick it one more time, you'll see that this goes in a circle like this. But for now, we can turn this off. Now take your 3 carpet, place one right there, and one right there, so it's kind of in an L shape. And then of course you can go ahead and replace all of these blocks so no XP or the mob loot can escape. And then all you have to do is flick this lever and you will see that the carpets get pushed around in a circle like this. Now the final thing we have to do, I'm going to turn this off for a second, is throw however many tridents we want on top of these carpets. I'm going to throw a couple, although 1 trident should be enough. Replace this, turn the lever on, and there you go, your entire farm's complete. Now this farm is really efficient, so it might not be a bad idea to expand this storage. If you want to do that, all you have to do is take some hoppers, place them underneath of these chests, and then place more chests underneath of the hoppers. Now one more important thing to remember, if you did build this out of glass and not solid blocks, like I mentioned earlier, you are going to have to put a roof over top of the farm. To do this, you want to go to any one of the corners and go out 12 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then do that here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do that for all 4 in the corners and then connect the edges and make a massive roof over top of the farm. Once you've got your roof, it should be working in daytime. The final thing you have to do is place a ton of torches up here to make sure that no mobs spawn up here and slow down the rates of your farm. Now your AFK spot will vary for every single person. For me, I like to go about halfway at my farm and then 20 to 30 blocks away, but sometimes you'll have to AFK at the base, sometimes you'll have to AFK above the farm. It changes for every single person, so if it's not working, make sure to try standing at different spots. But as you're going to see, I stand here, hold up my looting 3 sword for the best rates. The mobs will start to spawn, they all fall down the chamber inside of this trident killer, they are killed, I can stand here and collect the XP, and then of course all the drops are going to go down inside of these chests. Well, that's going to be all for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, again, you could download this exact world I'm playing on. It's the first link in the description. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out.